His MVP. Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Goes after the first one. Drills a high fly ball. Left center field. This game is tied. From Javier. Seager hits a high fly ball. Deep right field. A bomb in the first. One swing. High drive. It's tied. Seager smashes the ball down the line. Goodbye. Now Seager to right center field. Way back there. Corey Seager does it again. It's Rangers win the World Series. The Willie Mays Most Valuable Player Trophy presented by Chevrolet. Is there any doubt? Corey Seager.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live. Doing a little emergency podcast here for good reason. Rangers coming out with news today, signing right-handed pitcher Chris Martin, who pitched for the Boston Red Sox over the last 2 seasons. Chris Martin, a guy that we've been talking about here at Right on Rangers, a guy that I definitely was in favor of signing. I know there's a lot of positivity around Chris Martin as it is. Former Texas Ranger back in 2018, 2019. And then, of course, Arlington-native Chris Martin went to Arlington High School. Very, very positive move. I think the Rangers get a very, very clear-cut 8th-inning guy. And now the path seems very much mowed away, cleared out for the Rangers to go out and sign that closer, that missing piece in the bullpen. I think you've got a lot of guys that can pitch in the 6th and the 7th. You've got Chris Martin, who pitched almost exclusively for the Boston Red Sox in the 8th-inning role. I think now the mission is clear. Go get a closer, whether that's Kirby Yates, whether that's Kenley Jansen, who knows? I think right now, if I had to put my finger on it, I'd say Kirby Yates has got to be one of the top priorities among closers left over, but we will hash out the possibilities. Let me not get too far ahead of myself, though. Of course, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during this MLB offseason as we work through the rumor mills, all the different trade and free agency acquisitions, all that good stuff. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers for all your Texas Rangers content. We'll get to questions. We'll get to comments. We'll go over some other things as well. Still looking to do our show on Wednesday, but we'll talk specifically Chris Martin here. Maybe we'll end up going as long as we usually do. Maybe not. We'll see where the show takes us. That's half the fun. All right. Let me go ahead and say what's up real quick to the comments, and then we will get started doing a little bit of a deeper dive into C-Mart. We'll go through his numbers. We'll go through projections, things like that. Let's get into it. John, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. John says, if we could add Yates and Sasaki, offseason would be an insane success. I mean, at this point, I have to say, who is having a better offseason than the Rangers all the way around? I know that it's easy to sit there, pick, Juan Soto, big splash. There's been some big splashes, and I know I'm a little bit biased. As I always like to say, y'all see who I'm wearing right now on my shirt and who's on the cap. But I got to say, the Rangers just all the way around, you re-signed Evo, top priority. You went out and got Jock Peterson. You improved the lineup. You've added some, what I would say, solid bullpen pieces, guys that are going to provide depth. No, they're not the sexiest names or the biggest names in the relief pitching game. But now you add Chris Martin, a very well-respected name. Chris Martin, 2.08 ERA over the last 2 seasons in Boston. You got to be kidding. 2.08 ERA. This is a big name. I don't want any Rangers fans out there poo-pooing this. This is a big deal. Chris Martin is a very, very good relief pitcher, and you've got a clear-cut guy that can take care of the 8th inning at this point. very, very excited about the move. I think it's even more cool. A guy that's from the Arlington area, went to Arlington High School. Now he gets to come back home. It is believed that Chris Martin is going to be closing up and ending his career sooner rather than later. A lot of people believe this may be Chris Martin's last year in the big leagues. So I don't know what is going to happen long term. I can really only see this being a 1 or 2 year thing. I think a lot of people do believe Chris Martin's probably going to hang it up after this year, but maybe we get a second year out of him. Either way, big deal, big signing. Really, really excited about this move. And as John said, if you can somehow pull off getting Sasaki, getting Yates, my goodness. I can't even imagine that kind of pitching staff. You've got Sasaki, and then you've got Yates on the back end closing things out like he did last year. I mean, Martin and Yates, Robertson and Yates was powerful. I almost feel even better about Martin and Yates. And I got to think maybe with Kirby Yates, because I know that's going to be a lot of people's questions with Kirby Yates. I think the Rangers may be some kind of handshake deal right now with Kirby Yates. Let us work out the TV deal. Let us work things out with Sasaki. Hold on, and let's see if we can come to a deal after that dust settles. I really kind of feel it's just a gut feeling. I don't have any sources or anything like that. I just kind of wonder if the Rangers are, doing the right thing. Obviously not stringing anybody along, but privately in their talks with Kirby Yates saying, let us figure some things out. Hang on. And maybe adding him after Sasaki comes to his decision, after the TV deal works itself out. By the way, no news on the TV deal. We were told by Rangers beat writers that maybe in the new year we'd have an answer. We're at January 6th, and clearly we don't have an answer quite yet. But I do think this month we'll probably get some clarity on that. I can't imagine the Rangers want to string out the TV deal until spring training. You got to think that it's going to get figured out before spring training begins. So early February, mid-February at the latest. I don't know. I think that you definitely are going to see the dominoes really start to fall, though, after Sasaki is signed. I think a lot of teams are waiting on Roki Sasaki right now. If you can get Sasaki signed, whether he signs with the Rangers or not, I think that's when you're going to see Texas and a lot of other teams make their final moves, specifically when it comes to the pitching market. Let me keep going. Let me see if I got more comments here. Natalie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Rangers have had a way better offseason than I was expecting, but I also think CY wouldn't have re-signed if we wouldn't have been competitive. Isn't that crazy to think? There was some talk, like, is CY going to come back? Is he going to get re-signed? The definite answer that I always had in my mind was you just can't let him go. CY, he has won a World Series for this organization. I think he's made some key moves that have really, really contributed to that. I know that we can talk about the Cole Reagans deal. We can talk about a couple other deals mixed in there. No GM is going to have a perfect track record, but not every GM has won a World Series. CY has. So it is wild to think that Chris Young, for a second there, we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen, but quickly they promote him president, and then they get the new GM, Fenstermaker Figueroa, in as the assistant GM. And I really got to say, you have to be impressed if you're a Rangers fan with what they've been able to put together. No, they're not going out and getting a Pete Alonso yet. I can't imagine Pete is going to be on the table right now, but you're not making the big, huge moves that are grabbing all the headlines for the casuals, but they are making quality baseball decisions with the roster that are no doubt going to have an impact in a positive way on this team, making their way back to October baseball in 2025. Let me keep going here. Appreciate all the comments. Alex kind of already talked about Roki Sasaki a little bit. I'm sure he'll come up later on in the show as well. Appreciate you tuning in, though, bud. Thank you for the comment. I think it is a 50-50. I've always said that with Roki Sasaki. I think there are a lot of other teams that are going to want him and want his services. I think it's narrowed down to about 5 teams. Rangers are definitely in the mix. Really, everybody is just kind of basing Roki Sasaki's potential decision off of who he's met with. And he's met with the Rangers face to face. He's met with the Dodgers, with the Padres. I think there's a couple of other teams mixed in there as well, not remembering them off the top of my head. But that's really what we're basing this off of at this point. Roki Sasaki has met with about 4 or 5 teams. And now he's back in Japan deliberating, talking about it with friends, with family, of course, with his team. And after January 15th, somewhere between January 15th and the end of the month, we'll get a decision from him. And I really do think that at that point, you're going to see the Rangers and a lot of other teams be able to move forward, particularly when it comes to the pitching game. Keep going here. Appreciate everybody. Just sifting through some of the nonsense. You know what I mean? Let's go. Baseball Network, what's good? Rangers like veterans, and that's good and bad. Look, I've said a lot over the course of the last 4 or 5 seasons with the Rangers, and let's go back to some of the really down years, right? Let's go back to 2021. Let's go back to even some of the down years before the COVID season. One of the things that always frustrated me to no end about the Rangers was that they weren't willing to go out and get veteran relief pitching. It happened multiple times over the past 5-6 years where we just saw the Rangers not and refusing to go out and get veteran relief pitching. I really think that you've seen a big shift over the past couple of seasons. And it's really no coincidence that the Rangers have started having success once you go out and you've made a conscious decision, we're going to invest in veteran relief pitching. A lot of the times in the past, especially at the end of the Daniels era, you just saw the Rangers just kind of going with who they had, going with guys in the farm system, signing guys that were extremely young and hadn't proven themselves at all. We really did not have any kind of veteran relief pitching presence in some of the years before the World Series season. And I don't think that it's a shock that you go out, you get relief pitching, you get veteran relief pitching, and you start having success as a club, particularly winning a World Series. This move and these moves to go out and get veterans, I couldn't be more on board with it. I think it's great. And CY and company seem to have a knack for finding the right veterans to go out and get. You can easily sign a guy that's washed up beyond their years and ends up being a total bust. By and large, I don't think that you can say CY and company have had a lot of busts when it comes to the veteran relief pitching that they've signed. We'll see what happens with Chris Martin. I do have a feeling we're going to get a very quality season out of him. I don't know if it's going to be 2.08 ERA, just like I don't know if Kirby Yates is going to go sub 120 ERA either. But I do think we're going to get a good year out of Chris Martin. He'll be a solid 8th inning guy for us. So I actually like the veteran moves, and you've still got a lot of young guys, right? You got Langford, you got Josh Young, you've got Evan Carter. You got a ton of young guys in the mix still. And I mean, in the pitching rotation, you've got Kumar Rocker, you've got Leiter, you've got a lot of different dudes, Cody Bradford as well. There's a number of guys that are still really, really young and under team control. I think it's really a perfect balance. Really think it's a perfect balance so far. TikTok, I'm getting to you guys. Haven't forgot about you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me keep going here. Let me scroll back up to the top. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see. Got that hoodie and hat. Oh, yeah. I told y'all, I think I bought up almost the whole Fanatic store when they won the 2023 World Series. I mean, seriously, I've got just about every World Series hat, shirt, sweatshirt, hoodie. I think Dodgers have won the offseason. That, I think, definitely could be something that we can go back and forth about. Of course, and I said full disclosure, You guys know where I'm going to lean in terms of bias. I mean, that's obvious. I think that there are definitely teams out there that have spent money, that have gone out, added quality pieces. You had the Dodgers re-signing Teoscar Hernandez, and they made a few other moves as well. Very, very solid. They just, of course, acquired, I believe, the Korean third baseman. I'm remembering off the top of my head here. He obviously has a lot of prowess surrounding him and his move over here. So I think the Dodgers are definitely up there. I think the Rangers, just from the perspective of you're checking every box that you really needed. They needed to improve the lineup. Jock Peterson, check. You needed to have a front end starter. If it was Evo, great. If it was somebody else, great. You got Evo back. Check. You needed to improve the bullpen. You've got the depth. No, it's nobody really a big name. Now you go out and get Chris Martin. 2.08 ERA in the last 2 seasons. Check. You've got the Rangers, again, having a very well-rounded offseason here. Are they getting the biggest names out there? No. Roki Sasaki would change all that. But I just like the well-rounded nature of the offseason. A little bit of everything. You've got some very quality talent getting signed. Evo, Chris Martin. No, it's not Juan Soto. But nevertheless, these are really, really good players that are going to help the club get back to postseason form. Let me keep going here. Appreciate all the comments, guys. Thank you for everybody that followed along the way. Rico, hook 'em, baby. Thanks for tuning in. Juan Soto is this generation's Ted Williams. We'll see. I'm going to pump the brakes on Juan Soto, Ted Williams. I think Juan Soto's a great player. I love Juan Soto. Just the way that he gets on base, the eye that he has up at the plate. It is very Ted Williams-esque. Let's not put Juan Soto and Ted Williams quite in the same ballpark yet. What do I think about the signing of Martin? Already kind of talked about it. Love the move. Love it. Absolutely. Keep going here. Appreciate it. Could they go victory plus like the Stars? I don't think that they're going to do that. The last thing that I heard, chime in if you've heard anything different. The last that I heard with the Rangers is that they're going to be creating their own streaming network, and they're going to be using that primarily to broadcast the game. So I haven't heard a whole lot else. I think that they've kept it pretty lock and key. Hopefully they're going to unravel something really awesome here in the next few weeks. I'm definitely anxious to find out what they've got going on. But at this point, no news. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. Let me keep going here. Appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Do I think Jack Leiter will be better this year? Ashton, thanks for the comment, man. Appreciate it. I think that Jack Leiter has a lot to prove. I've said it multiple times. I really think that this is Jack Leiter's put up or shut up year. If you are not going to have a quality year this year with Jack Leiter, I really don't know when you are. I know that there's some Rangers fans out there willing to have a really super long runway for Jack Leiter. For me, dude, you're a first round pick. You're the number 2 overall pick, number 2, number 3, whatever it was. Like, dude, it's time. It's time. You need to show that you were that number 1 pick, that first round draft pick that we went out and spent capital on trying to get. I mean, look, we definitely had our pick of other guys. I always love doing the redrafts. Jack Leiter, so far, the draft pick is not looking great. I would love to be wrong on Jack Leiter. I really hope this is his year. I'm cheering for him. I have my doubts whether or not he's going to turn a corner and become the guy that we thought that we were drafting way back in 2021. I think that this is the year for Jack Leiter. If he does not show the first round stuff that we scouted a few years back, I'm not going to be shocked if the Rangers move off him in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a trade, whether it's, something different than that. I have no idea. I don't know if they would just simply release. It could happen. I mean, they DFA'd Davis Wenzel, 2019 first round draft pick. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think that they're probably going to try and work out a trade before they straight up release. but you can't have another season like you did with Jack Leiter. And I think you gave him a few different opportunities. You gave him the bullpen role, you gave him the starting role, and he really never looked comfortable. I mean, were there moments of brilliance? Absolutely. But by and large, was it encouraging? No. I don't really know what Ranger fan was actually watching last year that walked away from 2024 thinking, I really feel good about Jack Leiter going into the 2025 season. If you're just going off of blind, hey, he's got to get better. He's got to improve. There's just no way but up, I guess. I mean, that's not very analytical or based on any facts or evidence, but okay. Like, you guys know I'm glass half full guy too, but I just don't feel that way about Leiter. I would love to be wrong. I think we're going to get mediocrity this year out of Jack, whether that's from the bullpen or whether that's from a starting pitching rotation. I would be absolutely shocked if he was a sub 350, even a sub 4 ERA guy. I mean, in Vegas, I'd love to know the odds. What are the odds Jack Leiter has a sub 4 ERA this year? I don't know. And there's going to be some Rangers fans that say, that's awesome. If he's like above 4 or slightly under 450 ERA, that's great. That's improvement. I just don't agree. This is a first round draft pick. Like, this is a first round draft pick, y'all. I'm not trying to have a first round draft pick 455 ERA. And I know some people try and school me like this isn't the NFL, bro. But guys, I don't care. A first round draft pick, I'm not good with, hey, you're 450, slightly under a 5 ERA. I'm pumped. I'm not. I want my first round draft picks producing at a high level. And if they're not, I think you got to eat crow and say it was a failure. It was a mistake. Davis Wenzel, not to harp on him, that was a mistake. There's guys that want to give long runways for some of these prospects. And then you see guys come up straight away and be successful. For me, if you're in year 4 or 5 and still not hacking it, or you're a below average player, I don't know at what point you're going to hit that click. I hope to be wrong on Jack, but I just have a feeling it's going to be a little bit more of the same, and the Rangers are going to be faced with a very tough decision. Hope to be wrong. Appreciate it. Aaron, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Aaron is a little bit down on Roki Sasaki. Look, I can't say that I'm feeling very, very positive, but I will say the fact that they've gotten a chance to meet with him has got to give you hope. I don't think, and I really do feel I'm right on this one. I don't think he's out in the business of wasting people's time. He's only met with a certain amount of clubs. I don't think he just wasted the Rangers' time just to be nice. So clearly they're an option. We'll see if it ends up working out. Maybe it won't, but I'm going to hold out hope. I think that Roki Sasaki absolutely is considering every team that he met with strongly. And my hope is that it ends up being Texas at the end of the day. If it's not, I think the Rangers are still set up really well for this season. I'm definitely not going to be crying in my beer depressed if we don't get Sasaki. I think right now my expectation is we're probably not going to get him. 50-50 for me. But if we end up getting him, I will be over the moon elated. Keep going here. Yeah, I did hear that Higgy knows a little bit of Japanese, which is great. So that's awesome. The fact that he knows even a little bit of the language, I'm sure that is maybe a very, very small positive. I don't think it makes a huge difference in the decision, but absolutely. Then again, you go to the Dodgers, you've got Ohtani, you've got Yamamoto. Kind of makes Higgy look like a box of rocks. Am I right? If we're going to go that angle with Higashioka knowing a little bit of Japanese, why wouldn't you just go to the team that's got 2 straight up bona fide Japanese stars in Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto as well, right? Let me keep going here. Gerald, what's up, man? If you're still around, are we keeping Evan Carter? What's happening there? Yeah, I think Evan Carter is going to hopefully blossom into the everyday center fielder. I definitely am going to hope and cross my fingers that the Rangers are going to turn him loose a little bit. He was our number 1, number 2 prospect, him and Wyatt Langford. I really hope that this isn't going to be a bona fide platoon player, and that's the Rangers' plan for him in 2025. So the plan is keep Carter, and I hope the plan is play him every day. Richard, what's up, man? Thanks for the comment. Richard says, I doubt Sasaki is in the cards. Not saying it can't happen, but the need just doesn't seem to be there. CY has done a phenomenal job of addressing needs, but he also doesn't rule anything out. Look, I would say they've invested a lot of time into this Roki Sasaki deal. I don't think it's a flippant decision to go after him. I think they are very serious about going after him. And the reality is Roki Sasaki isn't going to cost you a lot of money. The max signing bonus, I believe, that he can get from any team because of his amateur status. He's under 25, hasn't had 6 years of international professional baseball experience. He can only take up to about a $7.5 million bonus. That puts a lot of teams in play, including the Rangers. So I don't think money is an option. I don't know if, Richard, if that was your angle there. Money's not really an option money is not a hang up here. It's not any kind of thing that's holding up the Rangers from getting the Sasaki deal done. It's really going to come down to Roki and what he wants to do, where he wants to go. So I hope that the Rangers end up pulling it off. I'm going to keep expectations low and hope that it all works out for them in the end. Let me keep going here. Scott, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Got to give CY his props. He's doing things that make sense. Totally agreed. I totally agree that he has really laid out a good path for the Rangers this offseason, and he's executed it. A lot of moves that, like you said, just straight up make sense. You had to retool the bullpen, got it done. Needed better bat in the lineup, Jock Peterson, hello. You needed a front-end starter to go along with Jacob deGrom. You got Evo back. Absolutely. Let me keep going. Let's see here. Other comments. Make sure that I'm all caught up. I think I am. Let me get to TikTok here. Appreciate all y'all being patient if I've been holding you up for a while. Let me keep going. Did Kirby Yates sign somewhere else? No, he didn't. Still out there on the market. And I kind of said, I wonder if the Rangers have talked to Kirby and basically said, dude, hold off for a little bit if you can. Let us figure out the TV deal. Let us figure out the Sasaki situation. And then after that, maybe they're able to get a deal done. Maybe not. I haven't heard a lot on Kirby Yates, like who's talking to him, who is making offers to him. I haven't heard a lot on Kirby Yates. All I've heard is the Rangers continue to prioritize him. They definitely are in the mix strongly to re-sign him. Clearly, there's some mutual interest. If Kirby Yates didn't like his time in Texas, didn't want to play for us, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't be hearing any reports like that, especially from Ken Rosenthal. So that's really the most I've heard on Kirby Yates this year. Most I've heard. So where we're at. Signing Chris Martin. 1-year deal. Don't know if they came out with any specifics of the deal. Let me see if any contract details came out quite yet. I don't know if anything beyond 1 year has been announced. Looks like I'm still looking it up right now. Doesn't look like I'm finding anything, but I'm also not doing a super deep dive here. So if you guys know what the contract actually was beyond the 1-year deal, let me know. And to make room for Martin, Matt Festa DFA'd. I did talk about Festa. I don't like to be right when a guy gets DFA'd, but I did mention I thought he would be a prime candidate for DFA. Somebody asked me on the live last Thursday, I believe, what do you think about potential DFAs if more moves are made? I talked about Matt Festa, a guy that's in his 30s. I think Gerson Garabito could be another one, especially if you add Kirby Yates. Sasaki, then you've got a DFA somebody else. Right now, let's look at the 40-man, and I'll kind of go through it, and I'll look at it one more time. You tell me if there's somebody else that you think I'm missing for guys that could potentially be DFA'd as the Rangers acquire a closer, maybe acquire Roki Sasaki. So Again, got to think Garrison Garabito is up there potentially. And then beyond that, I don't know if there are a lot of other obvious ones besides Cole Winn. Cole Winn, we talked about on the show on Thursday, a first-round draft pick way back when, 2018, first round, 15th overall, drafted by the Rangers out of Orange Lutheran. Cole Winn had a 7.79 ERA last year. I got to think Cole Winn is on the chopping block. I just can't see the Rangers re-signing and continuing to give Cole Winn a roster spot. I don't know. Maybe this is the final year. Maybe they're just holding out hope, trying not to be wrong on that first-round pick. Look, Josh Young clearly was a good first-round pick, but you had 2018 Cole Winn in the first round, 2019 Davis Wenzel, 2020 Justin Foscue. Like back-to-back years, the Rangers have had some doozies with their first-round pick. Cole Winn, 2018. We're going on year 6 in the organization. And Cole Winn got 13 games last year, 17 innings pitched, and then 15 earned runs and 17 innings pitched. Like, I don't know. I think Cole Winn has got to be the next guy on the chopping block on the 40-man. We'll see what ends up happening, but I'm thinking Garabito, Cole Winn are probably the next two guys. And I did really love Garrison Garabito and what he did for the Rangers, giving them depth in some of those dog days of summer, especially when the Rangers were starting to slip away and fall away from the playoff pack. Garabito came in, gave you quality innings. He came in and you rarely felt like the game was just going to totally get out of hand. I would be sad to see Garabito leave. I just don't know right now if there's anybody else that you really want to see go bye-bye on the 40-man. If you're just trying to look at everything and put it in context, like how controllable is the player? How old are they? You have to take all those things into account. And maybe there's somebody I'm missing, but I got to think that Cole Winn and Garrison Garabito are next on the chopping block if the Rangers need a couple more spaces to open up on the 40-man. We'll see what happens. Other than that, not a lot of other things to go through. Really happy about the Chris Martin deal. I think Arlington-native, Arlington High School, super cool just from that perspective. Of course, Chris Martin pitched for the Rangers 2018, 2019. Kind of interesting. I think a lot of y'all probably remember Colby Lewis. It's kind of curious how similar the two journeys are of Colby Lewis, Chris Martin. Both pitched for the Rangers. Both were given an opportunity to pitch for the Rangers after pitching in Japan. I think that it's just kind of unique, both of their paths. Now Chris Martin coming back to the Rangers in this stage of his career, late 30s. I love it. I think that it's great. Excellent. Aaron, I got to give you a hard time, bro. You're kind of playing pronunciation / grammar Nazi tonight, but it's all good. I will make the correction for next time. I will make the correction. I appreciate you, bro. Just giving you a hard time. So we definitely, hopefully, will not be done with these offseason moves. We will be hoping to have some more news on Wednesday in a couple of days. Rangers offseason podcast every Wednesday. We will be live also on Thursday. We're going to be doing a pregame Texas Longhorns versus the Ohio State Buckeyes show for you guys. And then Friday, the actual game day, will be live maybe in the fourth quarter or after that game is over, win or loss, rain or shine. You guys know how I roll. We don't hide from anything. We'll be back ready to talk Texas Longhorns, but we'll do Wednesday Rangers, Thursday pregame, Friday show to talk about the game itself. And then I think on Sunday, we will do a little playoff football show, talk a little bit Cowboys. Maybe we'll have some Mike McCarthy news. Maybe we'll have some other moves that the Cowboys have started to make by then to talk about, but we'll also talk about all of the NFL action from the weekend as well. That'll be the plan. So I'm excited for the week. We got a busy week ahead, but it's going to be a good week here. Absolutely. Let me get back to comments here on TikTok. I'll continue to take comments and questions as long as they're coming, and then I'm going to wrap up the show. Hope everybody had a great start to the week. Let me keep going here. Let's see. Gary, what'd you say? Where's that comment? Any chance the game gets moved back a day if we get a big storm? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the weather. I know Texas getting some crazy weather, but I haven't heard anything wild like that. Like there's going to be any delays. We'll see what happens. But nope, haven't heard any news on that. Gary, appreciate the comment. Philly sports fan, Rangers should sign Tanner Scott. A lot of teams should sign Tanner Scott. I am really, really interested to see where he lands. Had the highest WAR of any relief pitcher. So I think that it's going to be very, very curious where he ends up. I don't think that the Rangers are going to go get Tanner Scott. That's just my feeling. I think they'll get Kirby Yates before they get Tanner Scott or AJ Minter. I just don't see Tanner Scott happening. I'd be very okay with the move. I think Tanner Scott is a great pitcher, a guy you could absolutely insert into the closer role. I just think the Rangers probably prefer a Yates or a Minter over a guy like that, but we'll see. I think Tanner Scott would be an outstanding move, though. Tristan, Happy New Year. Go Rangers. Maybe see you later on in the week if you're taking off, bro. Appreciate it. Let me keep going here. No news on Tanner Scott. I haven't heard really any teams that he's been talking to. Let me look it up. Y'all know I'll try and research it on the fly. If I can't find it pretty immediately, then we'll move on. But let me go to news on Tanner Scott. Dodgers predicted to sign Tanner Scott. Shocker on that one. Am I right? So, look, just 3 hours ago, though, MLB GM tabs the Red Sox as a front runner. So, look, there's a ton of different news here. I think that Red Sox, Dodgers, I think the Braves are apparently in on him. So there's a lot of teams in on Tanner Scott right now. I really don't think the Rangers are going to be in the running for him. Tanner Scott would be awesome, but I just can't see it. Just can't see it. Scott, is that right? 8 inches of snow. My goodness. And Zeke to the Chargers? Okay, I was wrong. I did not think any team was going to be picking up Zeke Elliott, but I was wrong. Okay, so 8 inches of snow coming to DFW, and Zeke goes to the Chargers. Wow. I can't imagine he's going to be getting a lot of time. I know the Chargers have had some running back injuries, but we'll see. Wouldn't that be wild if Zeke just like goes beast mode in the playoffs for the Chargers? I can't see it happening, but look, good for him. I don't cheer for people to fail in life. I'm glad that Zeke has caught on somewhere. Cowboys, I think, did the right thing, letting him go, giving him an opportunity to go potentially help out a playoff team, and that's what has unfolded. So we shall see what happens with the snowstorm and with Zeke. Appreciate the comment, bud. Thank you so much. Let's see. Kim turned down Angels 20 million plus for Dodgers 12.5 million. Look, it's pretty crazy how baseball works. And look, if the Dodgers want to just continue to do what they're doing, there's not a lot to stop them. There's really not. But baseball is a wild game. It really is. You can definitely buy your way to the playoffs. I don't know if I'll say you can buy a World Series. I think it is very, very tough to get all the way through the playoffs, regardless of how much you've spent. You have to account for injuries. You have to account for simple regression, right? The guys that you sign, they may work out, they may not. So the Dodgers, they put it all together last year, but I think they'll absolutely be able to make playoffs. I don't know if you can buy a World Series, though. I think it's too tough in baseball. You can definitely buy your way to the playoffs, in my opinion. World Series, though, it's tough to repeat. It hasn't been done since the Yankees did it at the turn of the century. I don't know. Even with the Dodgers making all these moves, I'm not sure that it's a foregone conclusion. A lot can transpire and unfold over a 162-game season. I will admit, though, just being 100% real, it does get old and frustrating watching all the big names continue to go to LA. I get it. Who would want to play with Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, all those guys? But it does get a little old seeing the Dodgers literally attached to every big name free agent rumor. It just gets old. Yanks bought over 20 World Series. Look, again, I say you can buy your way to the playoffs. Putting it all together to get to the World Series and win it, I don't know if you can buy your way there. There's so many variables. Guys can soil the bed in the biggest of stages. Guys can get hurt, injured, get cold. There's so many different components that go into it. I mean, look at the Yankees this last postseason. And granted, I know that the Yankees aren't spending crazy, exorbitant amounts of money like they did in the late 90s, early 2000s. And of course, contextualize it for that time. Clearly, you have the biggest contracts ever going on right now in 2025. But they totally melted down in the World Series in that fifth inning, biggest stage. You just can't account for that. You definitely can get your way, buy your way to the playoffs, but coming through clutch in the World Series, that's another story. Totally. Keep going. Sasaki goes where? Rangers, of course. If he doesn't go Rangers, I'll say probably Dodgers. Like, it's just not going to shock me. I'd really love to see, and I don't know what I would do. You think about what you would do. I don't know what I would do if I was in the situation that some of these free agents are, but just my personality, I'm not really a guy that just loves going along with what everybody else is doing. Now, I don't want to go and play for a team that has no possibility of contending, but I do want to go to an organization where I can kind of be my own person a little bit, not just going along with the crowd, signing with all the other big names. I get it. You want to get a ring. Totally understand. But if I was a big name, I'd be looking for a place with good talent, with a solid opportunity to get to the playoffs and compete for a World Series. But I just can't see myself signing with the Dodgers, with all of the other big names. I don't know. Just me. I think it's hard to know exactly what you'll do until you get there. And of course, those dollars, right? Those dollars get flashed in front of you. Maybe we're all singing a different tune. But if the money's all the same, I'd just like to think I'd probably want to buck the trend a little bit and go somewhere where I could kind of make a little bit of a name for myself without getting drowned out in all of the other star factor that you've got going out in LA at the moment. Mike, what's up, man? No worries. We're just talking Chris Martin. We're wrapping up the show, actually, but going through the Chris Martin signing, 1-year deal, of course, Arlington-native, 2.08 ERA over the past 2 seasons. Very, very pumped about the Chris Martin deal. Extremely pumped. Check another box on the Rangers offseason. Was the Lux trade fair? I did see that Lux got traded today. Let me pull up the trade real quick. Good question. I want to pull up that trade and see if I'm able to even tell you guys my thoughts. I might not know all of the different, people that were included in it. Prospect Mike Sirota and a competitive balance round A pick. And then they get Lux, 27 years old, under club control for 2 more seasons, batted .250 with 2.1 WAR, 10 homers, 50 RBI, 140 games. Lefty, throws right-handed, played second base. Look, I got to say this. You guys who have been listening to me for a while know my position. I would much rather, if I'm a GM, I'd much rather take a shot at a veteran player, give up a prospect, give up a competitive balance pick, and again, take my chance with a vet, then take my chance on, this minor league prospect in AA right now is going to pop and be somebody really special. That is my perspective totally when it comes to prospects in baseball. Clearly, there's limits. You've got a Mike Trout, you've got a Bryce Harper. You're not just trading those guys. But really, for anybody else, I'm taking the risk that the prospect is not going to pop, and I'm going to take the veteran help if I believe that the vet is going to help me win now. So the Reds getting Gavin Lux for a competitive balance pick and an outfield prospect, More power to him. I'm all in favor of going out to get a vet that can help you win now. If you're just giving up a AA prospect or whatever the case may be, I'm all for that. That's why I'm just not a big fan when people get all uppity about our farm system and prospects. Yes, you want a good farm system. 100%. You want to have guys in the farm. It's helpful for a number of reasons. It can help your team, right? If they actually continue to develop into major league quality talent. Also, they're trade chips. You can use prospects to help you in the trade market. Quick drink of water there. And we're back. So I personally don't really love holding on, pearl clutching with the prospects. No thanks. Give me the veteran help that can help us win now. And clearly you got to use your best discretion. You have got to make sure that you're not giving up too much. But if I'm just giving up a AA prospect that's maybe not even top 5 in my organization, getting a guy like Gavin Lux, I'm going to take that all day long. Let me keep going here. Mike says, Sasaki and Yates, and I will be fat and happy. I will be too. If we can get Sasaki and Yates, I don't think there's any question who won the offseason. At this point, though, y'all know how it goes. It's like, what have you done for me lately? Recency bias is a real thing. Whoever gets Sasaki is going to come off and going to feel like the winner of the offseason because that is the latest and greatest move. Am I right? Like if the Padres pull off Sasaki, they're going to be up there winners of the offseason. If Dodgers get Sasaki, they're going to be clearly the winners of the offseason with all the other moves they've made. So I do think whoever gets Roki is going to come off looking really, really good just by nature of landing such a big name, a guy that has a lot of hype behind him. So, by the way, I don't know if we have really talked a lot in depth about Roki Sasaki. I saw a really good MLB. I read a really good MLB article on him, and it had a really nice breakdown of what he offers. And I'm just going to go through it with you if I can pull it off. Let me see if I can get this back. So here's the scouting report on Roki. If you've never seen Roki pitch, don't know anything about him, I'm sure you've heard his name if you're a baseball fan, but here's what he brings. 6'3". I'm reading off MLB.com right now. This is an article from Jonathan Mayo. Frontline starter with the potential to have 3+ power pitches. He can run his fastball up to 102 miles an hour. A four-seamer that averaged almost 99 miles an hour in 2023. This dude's a starter, by the way. Hey, we're talking about Roki Sasaki right now. An average that did dip to 96.8. Ooh, big dip. 99 to 97. Okay. In 2024. So he lost a couple miles off his fastball in 2024, down to 97. He complements the heater with an absolutely filthy splitter. So he and Nate Eovaldi would get along pretty well. Evo got that filthy splitter going on too. Man, I would love to see those two guys talking shop. So absolutely filthy splitter, 88.2 miles an hour average in 2024, generated a whiff rate of 57% this past season. He kills spin with it and it falls off the table. Roki's slider, 84 miles an hour in 24, misses a lot of bats, 41% whiff rate last year. He has an ideal projectable lean and athletic frame, throws a ton of strikes, though he's control over command right now. Control over command. Isn't that crazy? 97 miles an hour, but the scouting report is he's control over command. That's pretty wild. He has number 1 starter potential, though there are some questions about his velocity dipping. That's the scouting report. So I like what I'm hearing. I don't know about you guys. I like what I'm hearing off that scouting report. Mike says, I'll be shocked if he goes to the Pods, shedding salary, owners in court fighting each other. Yeah, I think it's probably going to end up being Dodgers, Rangers. I know there's a couple other teams in the mix. I find it hard to believe he's going to go anywhere else beyond Dodgers, Rangers, Padres, but you never know. Like, you never know. But that's a good point, Mike. I hadn't thought about some of the turmoil with the Padres ownership. Keep going here. Anything on Kirby Yates? No. I think the Rangers are still in the mix, but are prioritizing him as best they can. Rangers are trying to figure out the TV deal situation, and I think everybody's trying to figure out the Roki Sasaki situation. I think once Roki signs, you're going to see a lot unfold from there. Rangers should sign Trevor Bauer. Look, I've told y'all how I feel about Trevor Bauer. I know that there's some people that are just never going to want Bauer on their team. He's a cancer in the locker room, not a good teammate. Look, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And there are guys in Major League Baseball right now that have been convicted of real crimes that are pitching and playing ball in 2024, 2025. I don't think Bauer, a guy that never was convicted of anything, just accused, and ultimately was vindicated in the justice system. I think Bauer needs another chance in Major League Baseball. Clearly, he can still play. Bauer's getting blackballed, though. I don't know if the commissioner's office has just told all the owners behind closed doors not to sign him. There's really no good reason Bauer is not on a Major League roster. You can't tell me Bauer couldn't be a fourth or fifth starter. So, my opinion, he's being blackballed. I don't think that he's going to sign with a team. Maybe if there's some like injury situation, something like that, you'll see somebody take a bite. But I personally just cannot see Bauer getting signed as much as I think he should. I think that there are a lot of bad teammates out there in Major League Baseball. And I say that just by virtue of the fact that over the course of your playing career, I'm sure some of y'all have played sports. How many of us had a bad teammate on almost every team that we played for? Maybe even multiple. So I don't think for a second that Trevor Bauer is the only bad teammate ever to exist in Major League Baseball. And I'm not even saying that he is a bad teammate, but I know that that's the knock, that's the criticism. And he's, a cancer in the locker room, so nobody should touch him. I just think that there are a lot of other guys out there in Major League Baseball that are probably similar in that maybe they're not the best teammate, maybe they're not the best for the culture, but they're good at baseball and they've got a spot. So from that virtue, I do think Trevor Bauer deserves a shot in the major leagues. Again, there's guys that have abused their wife, girlfriends, and it wasn't consensual, and they're pitching in Major League Baseball, or they're still hitting in Major League Baseball. And I really don't think that Trevor Bauer needs to be an exception. But again, I don't see him getting signed. I think Major League Baseball has blackballed him, but would love to be wrong. Would absolutely love to be wrong. Appreciate the follows, by the way. Going to FanFest in a couple weeks, would love to, but this is a really crazy time for me. I'm going to probably be able to make it down to spring training, but y'all know I got a lot of other gigs that I do on the side as well. Of course, keeping up with all the other teams that I cover, but do some coaching as well for football, for baseball too. So I stay busy. I really do. And I wish that I could get to FanFest. I wish I could make it to a lot more Rangers games, but it's tough. I am looking forward to spring training, though, and I will definitely let y'all know if I am at spring training. I'll make sure I post. I'd love to meet some of y'all, hang out, watch a game, get a hot dog, get a cold beverage, shoot the breeze, all that good stuff. So I'll keep y'all posted on that. And I'm hoping I can maybe do a show from Surprise and go live, talk about some of the things that I noticed during the games and have a little fun with it. I don't know what the rules are at the stadium there. Some stadiums are really strict about you sticking around after the game is over. I get it. So we'll be flexible, but I'll definitely let y'all know my plans. Let me keep going. I've read the drop in velocity, Mike says, might be self-imposed. Him and his coach is trying to protect his arm. If that's the case, very smart, because I think we all know the chasing after velocity is causing a lot of the arm injuries that you're seeing right now in Major League Baseball. Look, again, he went from 99 to 97. Let's not make a crazy big deal out of it. The dude is a starting pitcher and still averages 99, or 97. He's not doing that bad. But interesting, Mike. Thank you for that. And then also, Mike says Rangers have signed 6 relievers through trade or free agency. If they sign a closer, that's 7. Makes you wonder if any org guys will even make the pen. Like I said, I think Cole Winn is probably on the chopping block, and Harrison Garabito probably on the chopping block as well on the 40-man. I really can't see either one of those guys surviving if we add 2 more players. I think you would probably, if it's me, I'd rather drop Winn over Garabito. I think Garabito actually proved that he can hang in the major leagues. Cole Winn was drafted in 2018 and hasn't really given you any inkling, any kind of hope at all, not even a sliver that he can pitch in the majors. So I would be in favor Cole Winn first. If you need an additional spot because you got Roki Sasaki and Kirby Yates both, then you go ahead and Garabito gets the axe. I don't like saying that out loud because I really love Garabito. I don't know. I think Latz, Mike, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I asked everybody, who else? Like, if you don't think I got it right with Garabito and with Cole Winn, who else would the Rangers get rid of on the 40-man? I realize not everybody knows the 40-man by heart. Even I have to look it up when I'm talking to y'all on the live here. I think that they're going to keep Latz around. I think he struggled last year at times, but he did show you what he can be. I think he does have a high upside. And of course, being a lefty, those are hot commodities. You want to have lefty guys that have a good fastball and can come in and match up situationally. I think they're going to really try and make it work with Latz. I don't see them dropping Latz and holding on to Cole Winn. So we'll see. We shall see there. Natalie says Evo is still isn't on the 40-man either. Is that right? I didn't know what they had done, but I thought they DFA'd somebody for Evo already. Am I just imagining that? I thought that they DFA'd already somebody for Evo. Like, was it Roanzi Contreras? Yeah, that's who they DFA'd. I'm looking at Sports Illustrated right now. Rangers DFA'd Roanzi Contreras to make room for Nate Eovaldi. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just not updated on the 40-man yet. But actually, I'm looking at the 40-man right now, and Nate Eovaldi is on it, Natalie. So, there you go. Evo's on the 40-man. John says, I forgot about lighter fluid Latz. Man, it felt like, I don't know if y'all are going to remember this series, but it felt like Latz was never the same after that Milwaukee series. You maybe remember that Milwaukee game where he gave up was it a grand slam or a 3-run bomb and totally melted down? Didn't feel like Latz was ever the same after that Milwaukee series. So I hope that a clean slate, a fresh start in 2024, and Latz is going to get back on track again. I'd much rather keep Latz than try to get Cole Winn below a 7.79 ERA or whatever he was this last year. But as I look at the 40-man right now, there's really nobody beyond those 2 guys. I don't think that they're going to drop Latz. Mark Church is an interesting one. And I know that Mark Church was brought up by Mike. I don't know what they're going to do with Mark Church. I think Mark Church actually had a decent minor league season last year. He got 1 game up at the major league level, threw a shutout inning, 1 inning pitched, no earned runs. Looks like he gave up a hit and struck 1 out. Now, in the minors, here's what Mark Church did in 2024. 4.21 ERA. That was up from 3.63 in 2023. And Mark Church, by the way, is a relief guy. He's not a starter. He had 4 holds. He had a save. And mainly looks like used in middle relief, 5th inning, 6th inning, maybe the 7th inning. Opponent batting average was 240. Look, I think Mark Church still has a little bit of a leg up on Cole Winn, but that's just me. I think Cole Winn and just the lack of success that he's had when given opportunities in the big leagues, it's working against him right now. So I'd probably still keep Mark Church over Cole Winn at this point. Let me keep going. Yep, almost positive it was a grand slam against the Brew Crew. He was just never the same after that. I distinctly remember he was just like lockdown lats, totally locked down. And then the Milwaukee series, and it was like you never knew what you were getting from him. It was like a Roldis Chapman 2.0. Like, and then he got injured, and you just really then didn't know what exactly you were going to get when he got out there on the mound. So I hope that Latz has got a reset in the offseason. You need Latz. You need lefties that can come in and get guys out in a number of different situations in the late innings, in the early innings. No doubt. He's going to get a longer look, as Mike's saying, than a lot of guys will. The leash is just longer for lefties. It just is, especially for lefties like Latz that have actually proven that they can get big league outs. Now, consistently, I don't think Latz is there yet, but definitely a guy I think that you've seen potential from, you've seen promise from. I think he'll be around. I think it's going to be Garabito, and probably after that, going to be Cole Winn, maybe in reverse order. We'll have to see. Let me get back to TikTok here. Appreciate all y'all. Think we're going to go after Helsey? I don't think so. I mean, Kenley Jansen could be an option. Maybe if Yates doesn't work out. I just got to think right now the priority, if you can get Kirby Yates, you're going to get Kirby Yates. Could the Rangers go out and get a Helsey or go out and get a Kenley Jansen? 100%. I just got to think the priority right now is TV deal. See what happens with Roki. Go get Kirby Yates. And maybe you go get Kirby Yates regardless. But I think that if the Rangers can get Kirby Yates, that's going to be their choice. That being said, I wouldn't mind a Helsey. I would not mind a Kenley Jansen. I don't think that Kirby Yates is going to be our closing pitcher for the next 5 years. Kirby Yates is probably a 2-year deal at best, and then you're moving on to somebody else. So I am interested to see what unfolds. I just think that Sasaki is going to be the first domino to fall, and then you're going to see a lot of more movement in the relief pitching market. Let me keep going. John says, kind of pumped we don't have to watch Anderson again this year. My goodness. Grant Anderson. Aaron, one of the longtime followers here at Ride on Rangers, he always called him Can't Anderson. And look, I don't love to be over the top negative about players, but Grant Anderson was frustrating. He was a frustrating one. And Grant Anderson, for me, is a guy the Rangers needed to move on from, and I'm glad that they did. Does Sasaki's international bonus count against the luxury tax? That's a great question. I wonder if that article will pull it up. So I'm going to check that out and see if I can pull that up for you guys. Let's see if I can. Sasaki. Yeah, okay, sweet. I think that I'll be able to get it, but if I can't quickly, y'all know the drill. I'll try and get it on the next show by Friday. Let's see. How much can he sign for? 7.5 million is the most. It doesn't really say, actually. The top 5 teams with the international bonus pool, the Rangers aren't even top 5. Top 5 teams based on remaining 2024 international bonus pool: Dodgers 2.5 mil, Orioles, Yankees, Giants, Red Sox. Let's see. And then beyond that, yeah, the Rangers are actually a little far down. So we'll see. But I think the fact that the Rangers got a chance to meet with them, huge. So I'll take that as a positive. I'll take that as a win. I don't know if the signing bonus counts against, though. Not sure. We'll have to get back to you on that one. We need another solid starting pitcher. Our bullpen is solid now. I don't think that they're going to go out and get another starting pitcher. So that'll be something that I think maybe will come along if you have an injury. Maybe they'll look for somebody else, God forbid. But I think it's actually pretty set with the starting pitching rotation. Now, you make room for Sasaki, but if you don't get Sasaki, you've got a really quality top 5. You've got Evo, you've got DeGrom, you've got Cody Bradford. Of course, you've got Malley. You've got John Gray. You've got Dane Dunning. You've got Kumar Rocker. You've got Jack Leiter. You've got a lot of guys that can be starting pitchers. Now, I know maybe some of those names at the end are a bit of a question mark at this point, but I really don't think that the Rangers, if they don't get Sasaki, are going to be in the market for any more starting pitching. I think it's Sasaki or bust. If you don't get Sasaki, you roll with the guys that you have, and you go out and you get that closer pitcher, Kirby Yates, Kenley Jansen, whoever it may be. Keep going. Huge Rangers fan. Ty, how have I just come across a Texas Ranger fan? Look, I don't know. I know there's a lot of Rangers content out there, so I know I say this a lot, but I really do appreciate all y'all. You make it fun. You keep the show fresh. I think some of you guys that have been listening to me for a while, you know I can yap on and on just about anything Rangers related, but I do appreciate you guys keeping the show fresh for me with the comments and all your support. It really does mean a lot. One thing that I tried to do that I felt like was a little unique, and I know maybe to some people it can be annoying, but I made it a goal last year. I'm going to go live after every single Rangers game, with the exception of like a few games where I was on family vacations and stuff like that. But I don't see a lot of people doing that. And I always get on YouTube after the teams that I love play before I started this channel. And I would love to do what a lot of you guys are doing right now. I would love to just get onto podcasts, get on the lives and talk with other fans. And I'm like, why don't I just do this myself? So here I am, right? So thank you for everybody that's followed. We will get on as much as we can. I don't know yet if I'm going to commit to every game this season. I think I may modify it a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. What happens, though, is this. I say I'm not going to get on as much. And then something crazy happens in a game, and I'm like, I got to get on and talk about this. So, look, you guys will probably know the drill once we get started with the season. I'll say, yeah, I'm only going to go live like once a series. And then inevitably there'll be some epic meltdown or like epically awesome performance. And I'll need to get on the live and we'll need to talk it out. So look, we'll see how the season goes and what it brings. But I'm really excited about the channel, really excited about all the people that are following along and grateful for it. Like I said, thank you so much for everybody that watches, supports, comments. It means a great deal to me. So I can't ever say that enough. Thank you. Let's see. Natalie, international money will reset on the 15th, and Rangers will be one of the teams with the most. There you go. Here's the complete list of international signing bonus pools for 2025. The Rangers are in the 6.261 signing pool. So I don't know if that's really going to make a big difference with Roki Sasaki. I think that the reality is he's going to pick exactly where he wants to go. And I don't really think that it is going to hold up the Rangers at all if they have to pay a little bit more in any which way when it comes to the luxury tax. If you can get Roki Sasaki, I think that you'll be all right paying a little bit extra with the luxury tax. Mike hope you don't get burned out. Ranger Matt used to go live after games and he burned way out. I never watched Ranger Matt. Mike, you might have to drop a comment if Ranger Matt has got any of his videos still up on YouTube. I'll look it up after the show. I have heard of Ranger Matt, but I never, ever actually watched anything. For whatever reason, just never came across it. But since I've gotten started, a lot of people have said something similar. Don't know what happened with him. Why did he get burned out? Doesn't anybody know? I don't know. Look, it does definitely get tough on some days. Like I think some of you guys know when the Rangers were getting their teeth kicked in at different points last year, it was hard to get on the live. But I told myself, you know what? If I don't go live after this game, it's just going to get easier every single time to not go live again when they don't do well. So I really made a commitment. I'm like, I got to just keep doing it, because the second that I decide, you know what, this game sucked, I'm not going live after this one. Then the next time it happens, it's just a little bit easier to do. And before I know it, I'm not really doing it anymore. And so I just really forced myself to keep doing it. And what would happen is once I would get into it and once you guys would come into the chat and start giving your 2 cents, it's just like a walk in the park. It's fun. And it's like almost therapy for me. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. Mike, okay, got it. I'll see if I can find anything, but appreciate that update, man. Look, I'm gonna try and be in it for the long haul. I'm really gonna try, y'all. We keep going in a positive direction here, and I know that we've got a lot of other sports that we cover here on the channel. Thanks for putting up with me. If you're not a Longhorns fan, you're not a Cowboys fan, you're not a fan of some of the other teams I cover, appreciate you still continuing to stick around for Rangers. It really does mean a lot. So let me finish out the show here. Make sure I don't miss any other comments. And then I am going to call it a night. Corey, what's up, man? Do I think El Bombi is going to do good this year? I would say I think he's going to do better than what he did last year. A lot of you guys heard me say when it comes to Adolis Garcia, I don't think for the standards of a cleanup hitter, you can do a whole lot worse than what he did. And even if you look at the numbers, they're not terrible. But for a cleanup hitter, you need to be over 90 RBI. You need to have a better year than what Dolly did. You look at Adolis Garcia's numbers. Let's look at them now together. It's been a second. And of course, Dolly missed the last weekend, but Dolly, 25 homers, 85 RBI. Like doesn't sound terrible. 224 is tough, right? You're hitting 224 and you're not driving in over 100 RBI. That's tough. So I think Dolly is going to be closer to 240, 250 this year with the average. I hope that he gets over the 100 RBI mark. 30 bombs is probably ideal for Dolly instead of 25. We'll see what happens. We shall see. I do think Dolly is going to improve. I don't know if it's going to be leaps and bounds, but I do think it's going to be better. Wyatt and left, yes. Am I confident in Evan Carter? I can't say I'm confident. I do think that you've got to give Evan Carter a shot. Like, stop putting the platoon label on him. Take off the reins and just let him run free, right? Let him hit against lefties. Let him hit every single day and give him a shot to develop. So I can't say like I'm, brewing with confidence over Evan Carter, but I do think that after an injury, back injury especially, it might be a little bit rough initially. He might still be a little bit out of whack with the timing. I think you noticed that he wasn't the same player in 2024, probably because of that back injury. I'm willing to wipe the slate clean, but I would say I'm cautiously optimistic about Evan Carter. I'm not confident that he's going to have a killer season. I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be a good year for him. I do think it starts with taking the reins off him and letting him play every day. Keep going. How good is Dane Dunning going to do this year? Look, Dane would not be in my starting rotation. My starting rotation would probably be something like this. It would be Jacob deGrom, Nate Eovaldi, either order. After that, I would probably go with Cody Bradford. Then after that, I think Tyler Malley. And then as your fifth guy, maybe you go Kumar Rocker. I think they're going to end up giving that fifth spot to whoever does well in spring training. Like if John Gray has a good spring training, I could see them giving it to John Gray. I think Dane Dunning probably is the least likely to take that fifth spot. I think Dane Dunning is your long man in the bullpen. I think they're going to give that fifth spot to either John Gray, Kumar Rocker, or maybe Jack Leiter. I would probably give John Gray the nod just because he's the vet. And when I say that, I just think that's who the coaching staff is probably going to go with. And maybe you do a 6-man rotation. So maybe you have John Gray as the fifth guy, but then you have Kumar Rocker as 6. I wouldn't be shocked if the Rangers employ a 6-man just with all the injuries that they have. I really do think that that is going to be the answer. Going to a 6-man rotation. I could definitely see the Rangers using that strategy just to keep guys fresh, right? Evo getting older, Malley, deGrom, Gray, all these guys are not like super, super young and spry at this point. So it's just not going to surprise me. I know Malley isn't like, terribly old or up there in age. Let's see, what is he, 30? But coming off of injuries, it's tough. So having a 6-man rotation, I think, could really be beneficial. All right, let me see. I hope they put Evan in the 9 hole and let him work against lefties. That would be my plan for him too, Mike. Let's just put him in the 9 spot and let him hit. He's your top prospect, right? Number 1, number 2, Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, 1, 2. Just let Evan Carter hit every day. I think they already came out and said that they're going to platoon him to get him like back into the rhythm of it. Maybe he kills it in spring training and they change their mind. But I do think I remember reading that was going to be the strategy, platoon him, ease him back into action, maybe in May or June, take the training wheels off and just let him go loose every day. I don't know. John, some of those games last year, John says, were hard to watch. Ranting with you after they were over was the only thing that made them tolerable. Here's to a great 2025. Cheers. Yes, sir. Hey, that's the same exact sentiment that I have. Like, some of those games last year in 24 sucked. They were miserable, but we had each other. And I did love that. Therapy, totally. Every time I would get on a live and vent it out, whether it was Grant Anderson giving up a 5 spot when it was only a 2-run lead when he came into the ball game, whatever the case was, right? It was great. So totally agreed, my friend. Thank you. All right, let me keep going. DeGrom has not pitched 2 to 3 years. Another reason why I think that they're going to most likely go to a 6-man rotation. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Ray, I'm with you. Can't wait for spring. 100%. Keep going. Can't wait to watch. Follow Garcia. Yeah, I can't wait till baseball season starts and we get to see, are some of these guys going to turn it around, right? Is Jonah Heim going to have a bounce back year? Is Doley going to have a bounce back year? I'm excited and, like I said, cautiously optimistic for players like Doley, Evan Carter, Jonah Heim. I don't want to say confident. They're definitely bouncing back. I definitely will say, though, Marcus Semien, I've been consistent with this, y'all. I think Semien is my sure shot bet for a bounce back. I know Marcus, a little bit of a down year with the average, with the OBP. Semien is my sure shot bounce back guy. I am confident Semien is going to have a better year. Everybody else, cautious optimism. Sleeping on my boy Cody Bradford? No, not at all. I think Cody's your number 3 starter. I don't think he deserves to be any lower than 3 based on the year he had. I'm a little worried about Cody Bradford. The splits were really weird on him. I think you guys remember me talking about he was really good at home, and then on the road, for whatever reason, just wasn't the same, right? The splits on Cody Bradford were really odd. So I hope that was just kind of a weird, like, dumb luck thing. But yeah, the splits on him, he like was dominant when he pitched at home, and then on the road, it would be like, what's going on, right? It was just kind of weird. Maybe it was the other way. No, it was that way. 7.08 ERA Cody Bradford had in away games. 7.08 ERA, 2.25 ERA at home. So basically, line it up so Cody Bradford can just always pitch at home. Please. All right, problem solved. But that is a pretty crazy difference. 2.25 ERA at home, 7.08 ERA on the road. I hope that evens out a little bit next year. Keep going. I never see anyone talk about Dustin Harris. Is he ever going to be in the bigs? It was weird to me they didn't give Dustin Harris a better shot last year. I know they called him up at the end of the year. He hit a home run. It was great. I kind of thought to myself, why didn't you do this like in August, in the dog days, when we had nobody that was contributing in the outfield besides Wyatt Langford and occasionally Adolis Garcia? And occasionally, very occasionally, Leody Taveras when he would go on his like 1 week heater out of 4 weeks in a month and be then a 200 or sub 200 hitter in all the other weeks. But the 1 week heater, right? I don't know why Dustin Harris didn't get called up. I would like to see Dustin Harris get a shot. I think it's going to be a little bit of a logjam now that you've got Jock Peterson in the mix. Maybe Dustin Harris makes the team based on his spring. I think Dustin's going to have a really good spring to make the roster. But if somebody gets hurt, like if Evan Carter, for whatever reason, gets something tweaked again with that back, I think Dustin's got to be the first guy you call up. I'd really like to see him get a shot. I totally agree on that. Appreciate the follows, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. And I think I'm pretty much caught up here. Last thing, how much longevity do I see out of Evo this season? He's getting up there. That's why I keep going back to 6-man. Let's have a 6-man rotation. Let's let Evo, DeGrom, Malley, Gray, these guys that are either getting up there or coming off injury or a combination of both, let's give them an opportunity to have a little bit of an extra day of rest built in. I think Evo is going to be fine. And of course, as long as you have all these guys good for October, I don't think it really matters a whole lot if you need to skip somebody. They're going to have to monitor it. How close is the AL West? How close is the AL wild card? But I think they're going to do everything they can to space things out for these guys so that way you don't see DeGrom, Evo, Malley, Gray, these guys breaking down in the middle of the year. They've got to do a better job keeping pitchers healthy. I railed on the Rangers multiple times last year, maybe unfairly. It's just crazy to me that you had so many pitchers injured last year on the staff. Maybe it's dumb luck. I hope over the season they evaluated the regimen, the program, the recovery, all that stuff. I think you have to. You're not doing your due diligence if you don't. The only starter that stayed healthy was Andrew Heaney. You have got to figure out how to keep pitchers more healthy in 2025. Got to. Mike says 6-man is what Sasaki is used to in Japan as well. So another reason. If we get Sasaki, I could totally see that happening. All right, y'all. Let's see. Really like this. I'll be back and talk Rangers all night, bro. Hey, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for all the comments. I'm going to go ahead and take off for the night, guys. Look, I said it was going to be a short pod, and then it turns into an hour and 20 minutes. You know how it goes if you've been following long enough, but I appreciate all you guys. I am going to start getting ready for bed here, getting ready for the day tomorrow. Hope all of you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll be back Wednesday to talk more Rangers. So if you liked what you saw tonight, you enjoyed the conversation, come back Wednesday. More Rangers talk coming your way then. And I always say this before every show. Hey, if you love Rangers and you know somebody that loves the Texas Rangers as well as a diehard fan, please share the live with them. Share a video with them. Let's keep growing this good group of people we got talking ball, talking Rangers baseball. Absolutely love it. We'll end on this. John says, as a Yankee fan, thank you for beating the Astros in the ALCS. John, anytime. John says, I like the New York Rangers. I get a lot of New York Rangers sometimes from people coming in. John, I appreciate you, bud. And hey, you're welcome. Rangers beating the Astros. I think just about everybody in Major League Baseball got on board with that one. Am I right? All right, y'all. Hey, have a great rest of the night. Have a good day tomorrow. We'll see you again on Wednesday. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.